Glaze Game Jesters here with episode 15, and it's the Xbox One. I have a very slim selection of games at the moment, and then I'm going to get into recent game pickups that I got, and I probably got about a stack of like 15 game pickups that I did recently. Let's just hop into the Xbox One. So, the original model. This thing's bulky, it's heavy. I mean, it does the job. I like it. It's scratched up. I mean, I recently picked this up going on about 2 months ago for $100 on OfferUp. The guy originally had it at $140, and I was like, I'll come right now with $100 flat. And the guy was like, sold. And it ended up being his son who was like, well, I got the new Xbox, and the old one, I don't really need it anymore. I'm getting rid of it. I'm obviously pantomiming and paraphrasing this guy's voice. He didn't sound anything like that at all, but it's just sad that people are just getting rid of this stuff. I was like, what's the point? I was like, it still works and still runs. It still goes online. I was able to retrieve my old gamer tag on this from when I had one, when I had Halo 5 years ago. And, you know, it does its job. It runs. I have no problems with it other than it really being heavy. And then I think one thing that I don't really like about it, that's one of my complaints, is the bulky power plug. And then the fact that it's a different unit altogether compared to the 360. You have to get a completely new unit, but I mean, obviously it's HDMI, but I mean, I guess that's really my only main issue. The controller's fine. I liked that he kind of upgraded it already prior to me purchasing it. It's one of the battery packs. It's not a rechargeable, and that's fine. I usually take the batteries out, that way they don't corrode, and I just throw them in the fridge or freezer. It's very responsive. It clicks well. It handles well. You know, the D-pad's great. I like it. The colors are really cool. This is like the luxury car of the Xbox controllers. The first one, the original Xbox, to me, okay, I'm going to use a car analogy, it was kind of like a Suburban or like a Chevy Tahoe. Yeah, it was big and bulky, but it worked. It got you from A to B, you know what I mean? This is the sports car edition, and then I like the 360 because it was like the hatchback sedan, kind of like, ooh, we're going to change it up a little bit. I think the 360 is probably still my favorite controller of the Xbox series of consoles. Granted, the new controller for the new system looks super sick. I've seen buddies play with it at you know, at my place of business. But anyway, Xbox One. You know, the buttons are really cool. I like that they kind of went with a different kind of color scheme here. I mean, then again, it might be a different controller. I don't think it's the original controller, the OEM that comes with the console when you purchase it. D-pad's, you know, super responsive. I like how fast and like it's just real stuck to the controller. But I kind of like that though, because it still moves to where you need it to. It's obviously upgraded thumbsticks. It's a really fun, loose, lightweight controller. I like it. Obviously HDMI here on the console itself. You can do an Ethernet cable, you know, to hardwire it to your router if you'd like. They're USB ports, you know, and I like that it's all infrared in the front. You know, it'd be nice to have the Xbox One S and like the smaller conversions of this. I mean, probably eventually, but I mean, I'm in no rush. The fact that I have this one, I'm happy to have it. And, you know, it's a lot of fun. I like it. Granted, I only have 2 games at the moment, and I will get right into those. So I picked up the Rare Replay just so I can play Conker's Bad Fur Day. I'm glad that I did. I'm actually nearing the end, and it's a portion where I defeated this one bear boss, and the bear has like a little hand, and it's a little girl, and then you kill the little girl with like these rockets, and then it's a timed sequence, and you have to go through these like lasers, and I can't. For the life of me, I couldn't get through the lasers at the moment, so I was like, all right, I'm going to take a break and play something else. So that's about as far as I got. I tried out the other earlier Rare games. I couldn't really get into them. I mean, Battletoads is a classic. I love that. I love that you can just keep continuing with Battletoads, you know, whether you die and so forth. Blast Corps for N64 is really fun. They put that on here. I like that. Cobra Triangle was an old one from the NES. Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie are fun. I remember playing Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts on the 360. I don't really think I gave it that much time and effort, but I will definitely do so now. I mean, it's 30 games for like $15. I picked up the disc originally, and then I went to Lost Levels, a retro game store out in Claremont near me, about an hour north from here, and I was like, look, could you sell the case? And they did. So now I have it complete. I'm glad that I do. You know, yeah, there's no manual, but, you know, at least I have a case. Otherwise, I was putting it in that portfolio that I have. Anyway, other game, Gears of War 4. Now I have 2, 3, and 4. I'm missing one, but then I also noticed when you open it up, there's the download for 1, 2, and 3. You know, kind of cool. I'll probably do those eventually if the guy who I purchased this from hasn't already done that, and then I'm kind of SOL at that point. But the fact that I have all these, I'm looking forward to playing this. These are a lot of fun. Run and gun shooters, you know, can't go wrong. that's the Xbox One. Now, let me push aside my big old mess that I got going on here and get into some recent game pickups I got. Here's one stack, and here's another. All right. I picked up James Bond, Agent Under Fire for GameCube. It got a recent, or excuse me, not a recent, excuse me, it got a decent review. I picked it up because I feel like, you know, the fact that it's complete in box, the disc was in relatively good condition. You know, I mean, it's probably hard to tell there, but, you know, I mean, 007 games are always fun, ever since, you know, I couldn't think of it for the life of me, GoldenEye, and, like, The World Is Not Enough, you know, the blue cartridge on N64. I mean, it looks like it's similar gameplay from what I reviewed, and it just looks like a lot of fun. I mean, GameCube right now would be the time to collect before they come up in price and basically go into the Disney vault, and you're never going to find them unless you want to pay, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why I got it. But of course I want to play it as well. But it is a long-term investment in my eyes. But anyway, I actually got a pretty good come up right now of Wii games in case that aren't shovelware, like karaoke and dance and sing it and all that crap, you know. But anyway, De Blob. I remember seeing this when it came out, the release. I thought it was kind of cool. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Epic Mickey per se, but in a little more cartoony, fun, puzzle-related kind of way. And it's 4-player. I'm really looking forward to playing it. It's made by THQ Toy Headquarters. You know, it's complete in box. I think I got it at a thrift store out in San Diego for maybe like $4. I actually just got this one today, Far Cry Vengeance. I didn't even know they made Far Cry for the Wii. You know, it's kind of cool that it's a little immersive. It reminds me kind of like how Manhunt 2 was on the Wii. I wish I still kept that game. That game was really cool. I was surprised that Nintendo allowed that kind of game to pass for, well, Nintendo's purposes and their, you know, sake and continuity of their games that they have that are typically kind of family-based rather than something violent like that. This is also rather violent, but not as violent. My gripe is I hate that GameStop does this. They put the sticker on the actual, you know, paper that's on the inside here. So if I do that, it's just going to rip the paper. But hey, it was complete in box. I got it at a thrift store, I think, for like $4. Give me a second. I dropped 2 games. All right. I also picked up this one today. Star Wars The Force Unleashed, the first one. Now I have 1 and 2. I have 2 on PS3. I'm looking forward to playing this one. I remember seeing people play this, not on the Wii, but, you know, I'm glad that I can pick up, you know, better games than, like I said, shovelware on the Wii. You know, I'm really looking forward to playing this. It's not complete in box, but the game is there, and I'm looking forward to playing it. Picked up Super Mario Bros. Wii. I loved this game when it came out. This was so much fun, like finding all the coins and getting the power-ups, the penguin, the ice blast, all that, the propeller hat. So much fun. And I liked that you could just flip over the controller and just use the D-pad and the 1 and 2 buttons, aka the A and B, right? You know, so much fun. Complete in box. I got it for $5. I've seen it go online anywhere between like $25 to $35. So, hey, it's an investment for me. It's kind of cool that it's a red case, you know. It's just, you can't go wrong. It's Mario Brothers, right? So I'm looking forward to playing this again and beating it. I beat it years ago when it came out. It was so much fun. All right, it's kind of a mess that I got going on here. Let me figure this out. All right. These are all 360 games. Or actually, I take it back. I have 1 original Xbox game. Wolfenstein, Tides of Revenge. Dude, Wolfenstein, I remember playing this back in the day on the original PC, watching my old man play it. Like I said in my PS3 video, same thing. I mean, this looks like they kind of like, you know, HD'd it per se in the Xbox caliber of, you know, choicing of how to play it in relation to the original. And it looks really cool. It even starts out like how the original did. I've seen a video play of this. Like, it starts out in the jail, and you have to escape the jail, and then instantly it's just like Nazi zombies, like how it was before. Wolfenstein's a really fun run-and-gun shooter. I'm glad I was able to pick it up for $5. Looking forward to playing this and possibly doing more purchases with that guy who I got it from on OfferUp. Halo 4, yes, I had this loose, but I just picked this up today, and the disc is even better condition than the one I had, so... You know, yeah, it's missing the manual. I'm going to get rid of the other disc. I'm going to try and see if I can sell it via OfferUp or, you know, store credit to some other retro game store. But now I'm glad that I actually have the case. Beat it years ago, played it online. Granted, Halo Reach online was probably still my favorite one to play next to Halo 2 because I have so much nostalgia for Halo 2. Because I'm thinking without Halo, there probably wouldn't be any Xbox franchise in my perspective whatsoever. Anyway, yes, I had... Batman Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. Actually, it was so crazy that I ended up finding the Game of Year edition like I had on PS3 and then the original on PS3 as well as the 360. It's essentially the same thing, except I have the cases now, so now I can sell those or take those to a retro game store for credit. But I remember playing these years ago. I loved Arkham Asylum. the linear capabilities of the gameplay that they had, and it was cool that you got to play Killer Croc, one of my favorite villains of all time. I'm really not a big comic book guy, like I've said before, but Batman and Spider-Man are always fun, you know, ever since like the NES and Super Nintendo days for me, whether it was beat 'em ups or kind of, yeah, most of the time, yeah, beat 'em ups were always a lot of fun. The Batman on Game Boy, that was a fun one, made by Sunsoft. That was a really fun game. I think I beat it in 28 minutes. Anyway, neither here nor there. Arkham City, a lot of fun. The Joker challenges, wow, that was, in the word itself, that's a challenge. It was so difficult. I try and 100% as many games as I can, given the opportunity, but I think I only got 70, 80%, and I was like, I'm good. Good enough for me. It was just too much, but these are great games. Last of the 360 at the moment, I picked up Evil Within. I remember watching my buddy play this, I think on his PS4, or maybe his Xbox One, I'm not necessarily sure. But I remember seeing the gameplay for it, and I was like, okay, it's like a creepier, up-to-date Resident Evil, you know, meets, you know, Alan Wake, per se. I mean, I only say that because I just recently played Alan Wake, finally beat it, loved it. It was a lot of fun. The ending wasn't really, it was like subpar in my perspective. The ending song is David Bowie's Space Odyssey, though, which was pretty cool. Anyway, super cool looking game. I remember the introduction being kind of like a very dim lit area, and you're like walking through a kitchen and you have to like dodge this guy, and it just, I remember seeing that and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then the aspect that you're in like some sort of mental institution and you put this headset on, you do your upgrades that way, and the fact that it's like very slim you know, ammo, and it's just very slim health at the time, it just makes it such a great challenge, and I'm looking forward to playing this as well. PS1 pickups, I got lucky. I actually used my printer at work and just printed this out. Whoa, what the heck? All right, anyway. Weird. Okay. I printed out the front label for this. And, I mean, yeah, who cares? I just folded it over a little bit, but I finally was able to pick up the Croc disc today. I picked it up for, I think, for like $3, you know, and the fact that it's all complete, relatively in my eyes, you know, and it has the backing, like, I had the loose case for some reason and no disc, and I picked up the disc recently by itself, and I'm just happy to have it. I remember playing this. My buddy Cameron lent me the game years ago when we both had PlayStation 1s, and it was just a really cool kind of puzzle platformer. Kind of reminded me of like Bug on Sega Saturn, but a more 3D aspect rather than, well, Bug was 3D as well, but I don't have a Sega Saturn. That is one system I'm definitely looking for. Anyway. Crash Bandicoot 2. Now I have 1, 2, and 3. I have the original trilogy. It's not the, you know, the original case, but it does have the manual, which I think is super cool. The game is in here. Crash Bandicoot 2. You know, Cortex Strikes Back. Made by Naughty Dog, the same guys who did the Uncharted games. Those are fun games. You know, I'm happy to have it. It doesn't have the side label, but, you know, I can still find it on my shelf right there. You know, I'm happy to have this. I got to beat 1 first before I get into this. From what I've been told, 1 and 2 are relatively the same. 3 kind of went a different route, and that's fine. I'm still looking forward to playing them. They were a lot of fun. I am so glad I saved the wow. Let's just start over there. I saved the best for last, in my perspective. I've heard about this game. I've been wanting to play it for a long time. Made by Squaresoft. I've never really gotten to any Final Fantasies. Yes, it is loose. It's not the exact, you know, case that it should be in, or manual. They're not in the best condition, but I got it for like $3 to $5, and you know, the discs alone go for like $25 to $40. I picked up Final Fantasy VII, the original, all 3 discs. I am looking forward to getting into these and playing these. I remember seeing the Final Fantasy characters in the Kingdom Hearts games, and I never really got into Final Fantasy before that, and I was like, who are these characters? And I remember hearing about Final Fantasy 8 and 9. I always hear 8's like whatever. I hear 7 and 9 on the original PS1 are the ones to play. And I'm really looking forward to getting into this and delving into this. I think I'm going to get into this first before maybe even Chrono Trigger, and maybe even before Chrono Cross and Grandia. You know, I mean, those are all great titles to play, you know, so I've been told, and so I've reviewed and read and so forth. But I really, really want to get into this one. And I know it's going to take a long time to beat. But, you know, that's what I have so far. Thank you for your time and patience, and I look forward to streaming games in the future. And whether you guys want to talk, you know, music, books, movies, video games, it doesn't really matter. I do the best I can to try and delve into a lot of different types of media. And, you know, thanks for the support, and have a good night, guys.